Miho. They sound like they were a wonderful person.
I can see why you never stopped searching for them. They were truly special, weren't they?
Yeah. Yeah, they really were.
It's certainly a new feeling to be the one waiting, instead of waited for. Hi, Aspen.
Good evening, Aspen. I hope we didn't keep you waiting for long.
No, not at all. Besides, I can hardly complain when it gives me an opportunity to catch up on some reading. I thought about exploring the gardens a little, but I wasn't sure I'd be able to find my way back out.
There are worse places to be lost, at least. Thank you for indulging my request to come here in the first place.
It was a good idea. Not to say the library's gotten boring, but...
We never really go anywhere else?
Precisely! I've never been here before either, so I'm eager to see the gardens.
It's been a while since I've been here myself, but I believe I remember a nice spot I used to visit with.
Stonebridge Gully. That sounds rather poetic. Perhaps I'll use it in a story sometime. Ah, Pine Hill Path too. Whoever named these gardens was having fun, weren't they? Sorry, one of the photos there caught my eye and I wanted to take some notes for further research. I hadn't realized there was more to this park than just this one garden.
Really? Like what?
There's an old estate for one thing. Also another garden just for native plants. There's even a cemetery not far away that's apparently part of it.
Would this do?
Oh, Juliet, it's breathtaking. What do you think, Miho? How does it compare to some of the sights you've seen?
It's pretty nice. I like the view from up on Mount Victoria better, though.
Oh, it's been quite a while since I went up there. Perhaps I should see it myself sometime and compare.
You should. You can see the library from the top. I used to go up there to clear my head, before I started living at the library.
I'll be sure to invite you along, then.
I never told you anything about my person, right? About Changin. I was just a regular fox back then. I don't know how old I was. Foxes don't think like that. All we know about is eating snacks and lying in the sun. That was all I really did, all day long. No hobbies or jobs or responsibilities. Just existing. I knew what humans were in the same way I knew what leopards and bears were. Big and scary and something to avoid. It was rare to see one in the forest, but it happened. Most of the time, they were noisy enough that you could hear them coming from far away and hide. That was the first thing that was different about my person, Chongin. I was taking a nap in one of my favorite spots, an old log that had fallen over. Chongin came all the way over and sat down before they woke me up. And when they did, I panicked. I ran and hid as fast as I could. I think they were surprised too. They didn't try to catch me or stop me. Instead, They kept their distance and tossed me a little bit of the meat they were eating. I didn't trust them and didn't know why they were sharing, but it smelled pretty good. So I grabbed the food and ran away, and eventually they left. When I went back to my log the next day, Tongin showed up again too. I ran away again, but they still didn't chase me and let me come back on my own. We did the same thing the next day, and the next day, and the next. Then, one day, I was in a new part of the forest. I liked wandering around even as a fox. I wasn't paying attention to where I was going, when suddenly, it felt like my leg was on fire. I didn't know what it was at the time, but I'd walked right into a trap that a hunter left. I couldn't move as much as I tried, and it's still the scariest thing that ever happened to me. I was sure I was gonna die. Finally, Tongin showed up. At first, I thought they were there to finish me off. Instead, they were worried for me. They knelt down and got my foot out of the trap, and then wrapped it with a part of their shirt to stop it from bleeding. That was when I finally figured out they weren't going to hurt me. I kept going to the grove to see them, and they kept being there. I let them get close enough to touch me after that. Still, they didn't do it much. It was only to check on my leg and make sure it was healing okay. One day I went, and they were waiting like always, but they brought a lot more food than usual. And they gave it all to me, hardly eating anything themselves. After I was finished, we sat together for a while. They sat on my log, and I laid in the grass nearby. Finally, they got up like usual and set two things on the ground. One was a bag of food, the same as they had just given me. The other was a little paper scroll. They patted me on the head for the first and only time. Then, they left our grove. At the time, I didn't think that day was anything special, other than the extra snacks. But it was the last time I'd ever see them. When I came back the next day, they weren't there. I waited, just in case they were late, but they never showed up. The scroll they left and some of the food were still there. Other animals had taken a lot of the food, but they didn't want the paper. I took the scroll with me when I left. I didn't know what it was, but it was theirs, so it had to be important. My only option was to carry it in my mouth. I went back again the next day, expecting them to show up, but they never did. I don't know how many more days it took before I realized they weren't coming back. Once I did, it was all I could think about. I kept looking for them, but I couldn't find them, as much as I wanted to. I didn't even know why I wanted to see them so badly. Just that I did. While I was thinking about that, I started to choke. Something came out of nowhere and was stuck in my throat. Finally, I coughed it up. A bead. I'd never seen it before, and definitely never swallowed it. I left it and went back to my den, but it was waiting for me there too. No matter where I went, it was always waiting. So finally, I touched it with my nose. Everything after that happened so fast. 1 second I was there, just a normal fox. The next, I was in this new form, not sure how or why. Some things came to me naturally, like using my new body and walking on 2 feet, and even how to turn back into a fox. But I still thought like an animal and acted like one. I didn't know any words that I could even think with. I had to learn those, and all kinds of other human behaviors the hard way, after getting chased away from villages and strangers that I met. Over time, I learned how to hide and blend in, and steal, and just how to survive. I followed Jungin's scent all the way to the ocean. I'd never seen so much water, not even close. I had no idea how huge it was. I boarded a ship like Jungin had, not knowing that it would take me somewhere different than the one they took. And I've been looking for them ever since.
Miho. They sound like they were a wonderful person.
I can see why you never stopped searching for them. They were truly special, weren't they?
Yeah. Yeah, they really were. Anyway, I'm sorry for getting so mad at you yesterday, Juliet. And for how I acted this morning with you, Aspen. I know that you both just wanted to keep me from getting hurt. But that's another thing, too. It feels like you're always looking after me, or taking care of me. There are lots of things I'm still learning, but I'm not weak. I've taken care of myself for a long time, you know. So, I don't want it to be like that anymore. I want you to be honest with me from now on, both of you. Even if it's something that would make me sad or angry. I promise that I won't run away without saying anything. I won't just disappear no matter what happens. Because if we're really friends, then we should trust each other, right? That's one of the things I've learned.
I hear what you say, Miho. And I agree. You're not the only one still learning things, you know? I have a long way to go too. For years, I felt it for the best to remain open, but guarded. If I maintained a comfortable distance, even from those I call my dearest friends, then I would be protecting myself. By never getting to know anyone too well, by withholding any meaningful details of my life, I thought to avoid the pain of loss again. But all I've done is keep myself from experiencing that joy of companionship again, while even causing hurt to others. I'm not too experienced when it comes to being honest to myself. Or perhaps only honest to a point. But you're right, Miho. That isn't how it should be. From here on out, I'll endeavor to be more open, more real, with both of you. For myself, and for you. such, Aspen, there's something that I'd like to tell you.
God, that's certainly a lot to take in. Thank you for telling me, though. Cosette sounds like she was a wonderful person, just like Johnine. I wish I could have met her.
I wish you could have as well. She would have had endless stories to recount, and I know she would have loved to share them.
As for all the other stuff, first of all, I promise, to both of you, I want us to be truly friends as well. I don't have anything quite so dramatic in my past, but I certainly know how it feels to be performative. I can hardly fault you for curating your self-image when I do the same thing. It's kind of funny, actually, and a little scary to hear you talk about Cosette and Zhongyin. Because, as someone who will one day be past tense, I often wonder about how I'll be remembered when I'm gone. Not that I expect that to be any time soon, but still, I hope that someone speaks of me just as fondly someday. There will be more than enough time for me to worry about that in the future, though. Right now, I'm glad we had this conversation. It was worth the near panic attack I had earlier, wondering what would be said tonight.
Me too. I still have a lot to think about, and I'm still sad. But I don't want to be sad forever. I know it's not what they would have wanted for me either. But I do know that I'm lucky I met you two, and that you're my friends. I wanted to say like that.
Well said. And don't worry, Miho. We're not going anywhere.
Oh, Miho, I'm glad too. The first time you stepped into the Bell House was one of the luckiest days of my life.
Mine too.